Good evening, good evening, good evening. How is everyone?
Doing well.
Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. We are here we are. Show number 351.
Yes.
We're officially we have a counter.
Yes.
Is this to help John for next year?
Yes.
I don't know. It's to help me too, because I can't remember. I can't remember anything these days. So
we're just blaming it on the rain.
That's it. Blame it on something.
Exactly. Blame
it on something. But anyway, here we are. We're back in our homes, and we recovered from last week, which I don't know what you guys. I still think about it a lot. So I think it really went well, and I think everyone was pretty impressed by this fan's view.
I agree. Yeah,
I would agree.
It was definitely a great event. How could it not be when you have a bunch of the Dalton Foundation members there? Those guys are just great. You know, they talk to you like you knew them since first grade.
Yep.
And they didn't disappoint. They were all out there. The whole foundation was out there too, which made it even that much bigger of an event. And like you said, that they were all happy with everything going on, and Buffalo Wild Wings was happy with the entire restaurant area as well being packed as well.
They were extremely happy.
Nice.
And it was basically standing room only because there was a few people standing around. So, it was that didn't have tables. So,
yeah, I dropped off the new flyers, for next month, and Joe was. He doesn't usually talk numbers with me, but he was like, wow. He goes, when can we do that again?
Exactly.
I bet.
I said, well, I took a lot of hard-earned, a lot of work, and just, we were burned out, by the time it was live, but we pulled it off.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Stinger, you like those Cabbage Patch Kids, huh?
Which one's your favorite?
Yeah, which one's your favorite, Joe?
I can't say I agree.
I was waiting to get your opinion on what you thought of those.
Those Cabbage Patch cards, I mean, I know they're not meant to be flattering, but damn. Whew.
Yeah.
They are funny, though.
Mm-hmm.
They are funny.
Oh, right. Garbage pail.
What'd you call them? Garbage Patch?
Well, he called them Cabbage Patch.
Joe confused me because he called it Cabbage Patch, but it's Garbage Pail, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Just in case anybody was wondering.
Oh,
there you go.
Okay, so this one I don't mind as much. I mean, I've got some wrinkles going on. I'm not sure why I'm sweating.
Well, it's because of your layups, I guess.
You're balling. You're balling out.
Right, but I have a different outfit on than somebody who will be playing back. I don't mind her outfit. Her outfit's real cute. The glasses are fine. The hair's fine.
I love the Buffalo Wild Wings frame over John. The one on my shirt. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah.
But that was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The solo one of me, I wouldn't be mad if that went away forever.
Well, they're on order. They're coming. We're doing an autograph signing. You're gonna have to sit down. You're gonna have to sit down and sign 1,000 of them. We got requests.
I'm gonna be like, is it Steve Jeltz who doesn't sign a particular card because it's an error card or something? I'm gonna take that stance. That is not me. I'm not signing that card.
All right, there you go, folks.
Well, we won't show Lauren's then, Carl. Here was yours.
Right. You can show. I mean, it's been out there.
It's beautiful. I love it. Kidding me?
Go.
If that ain't friggin' me, 100%.
Exactly.
I love card selling, Carl. Amazing.
Yep. This is the best one though. That was me when I was born. I was 10 pounds 9 ounces. That was me, my fat ass coming out when I was born.
Oh my God. Yep. Amazing. Go ahead.
Close your eyes, Lauren.
It's all right. I mean,
It's great. Look at it. You got your high tops on. You're balling. You got your kick in your hand.
But I'm like sitting on a stool, but for some reason I'm sweating. What?
You're nervous. You're getting ready to get in there.
Scotty Black's probably at work. He works the night shift at UPS. He's probably laughing his balls off right now because he can't watch it, but he can listen to it.
Right.
You know, because his boss is keeping an eye on him. But anyway, good stuff.
Everybody wondering why he's laughing.
If you can't make fun of yourself, there's something wrong. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Joe's upset that Anthony doesn't have one. I can't say that Anthony is upset that Anthony doesn't have one, though. Well, speaking of, are you ready, sir? Okay.
President GM is in, and we were missing his card.
Well, that's all right. I'm good.
That's all right.
So the cards are ordered. I can work on getting you one. That's not a problem.
All right.
I would say don't work too hard.
Come on. It's all good. It's all fun. That's what we're about. Fun.
This is our second card, right?
It is.
Yeah, we had which ones did we have?
Wasn't it like Diamond Kings or?
Yeah, we had
something?
those through Steve Scalish put those together originally, right, John?
Exactly. Yep.
I don't know where they got to. I'll have to look for those.
Yeah,
you
cleaned up and things are.
Whoa! Easy. I throw empty boxes away. That's what I throw away.
I didn't say you threw them away. It's just harder to find once you clean.
They're in one of those 3 or 4 row boxes that I neatly stacked up,
organized.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But anyway, a question for you, John. Did you want to go over fantasy, or is there any? Or
yeah. There's definitely
because I want to make sure everybody gets their announcements and.
Oh yeah,
here's their names and.
Oh yeah, it's a tight thing. So I went back even to week 6, which was last week's thing because we had a new leaderboard for 6 weeks in a row there. Henry Ziddell jumped up there. Carl, you're there, number 11 there. So you jumped up onto the board. It was a big week for what was last week was. Otani and Soto and Freddie Freeman had a huge week, so a lot of people jumped up that previous week.
Okay,
and then the current leaderboard for the 7th week in a row, we got a 7th different leader.
Wow.
This is the first time that we've had a second. This is the second time for Jason to be on the leaderboard, but 7 straight weeks of.
He's had a lot of time on his hands to take care of his team, right?
Yeah, exactly. Fixing up that ankle, so hopefully he's doing better with that arch.
Well, it's his foot, right?
Yeah, his foot. Yeah, the ankle.
Fascio.
Plantar fasciitis.
Yeah, there you go. You go. We never planned on being doctors.
No, we just play one on TV or on a podcast. But
yep.
But
all
yeah,
right, well, that's good.
Yeah, it's going well, and everybody's fixing their players and getting their numbers in, so they all see that it's such a tight race right at the moment that they want to get their they don't want to hold out and miss out on players, so they get their replacements in quick.
Nice.
It's good to see.
Stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, question to you guys. You were all there last week. What was your takeaway from last Wednesday's event? What did you think of how it all played out?
You want to go first, Lauren?
No, go ahead, John.
All right. I think it went smoothly. It was for as big of an event as it was, having that many people there. I think it went just perfect. And the Dalton Foundation made it that much better, and being there as well, and I couldn't have asked for anything better, I don't think.
Yeah, for the amount of chaos that could have ensued, the fact that everybody was very respectful and played by the rules and donated and understood the mission. It was great. Yeah. So, Tony, I have a question for you, because when the Willie Mays winner was drawn, you called him. And did you just happen to mention that you were calling him in the middle of a Darren Dalton fundraiser?
Well, it was loud.
Yeah.
So I felt like I had to explain why it was loud.
Got it. I was wondering how that came
I told him
up.
that we pulled it at the show, and so kind of that's how it came up. I didn't do it on purpose.
Right. No, I know.
That's how it came up.
Yeah, that that was part of what I wanted to just spend a couple minutes on. That whole thing, the way it evolved. With Brett Datto pulling the ticket. Before we, before the night got away from us, and I wanted to do it live, and we had discussed it beforehand, and it worked out really, really well. Brett was gracious and funny, in that he pulled his own ticket, so it worked out really well, and for the people who don't know, and for our show tonight, which is show 351. I got to keep reminding myself that we were told that he was going to donate the jersey back to the foundation, which I think was for me was I know we raised a lot of money, but I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was really something that just highlighted the whole night.
Right.
Because we didn't struggle, because we don't really strong arm people to sell 100 tickets, but it took a little bit longer than we normally, have to.
Well, it's a very specific item. It's a very specific thing. And if you're a Philadelphia fan, it's, are you really going to hang a Giants jersey on your wall? I know it's Willie Mays, but yeah, it's out of the norm.
Right. It went well. We were able to raise, we had a lot of stuff going on, right? We had the walk, with Humane Pennsylvania. We had CCC charities. And then let's throw in the Darren Dalton Foundation. So we had a lot going on. Tuning in from Florida with the newest fan. Is the baby home? Henry, is the baby home? Maybe we need to send you a link and you can jump on board.
I don't think the baby was home yet.
He said that with your newest fan. So I kind of assumed that baby may have come home. Not yet. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, all right. Well, we got first dibs on don't pick another show.
Yeah. Today actually was the due date. Is what if I read that right today when the post. So.
Yep. Baby came a little early. Baby said, "I'm out of here."
Yep.
There you go. But anyway,
the baby had to see the 350th show.
That's the day it was born. Was the day of the show.
Last Wednesday, exactly. Yep.
It was like the Dalton Foundation's there. I gotta go watch it.
We would never switch shows. You better not.
Exactly.
You'll end up out back with the Gators. But anyway, yeah, just to not to drag on with this, but the whole family came in. Mom, Dad, the two kids last Saturday. It was totally cool. The little guys were just so on board with it. We posted a picture of it. Just an absolute great thing to have happen. So with all that being said, we raised a lot of money. And I'm just ecstatic about it. You guys worked your butts off. We tried to pull this off as professional as we could. I know I got a little crazy at the end because I wanted to reach a certain number, and we got there. We got over and above. So, very, very happy with it. Thanks to everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone that came out, you guys, you're there every month, with the show. So we know what we can handle and what we can do for the future. So we got something to build off of. We now have a template,
Exactly.
on what we're supposed to do.
Did you get any feedback from Brett or the foundation as to how, like, I don't know how many places sort of have these third-party events for them, but I mean, they seem good.
He sent me a couple of emails. They were very pleased. They were happy with the hospitality.
Sure.
They do not do a lot of these that they attend.
Right.
Usually they're, a much smaller variety. Someone, does, a backyard barbecue kind of thing. And,
Sure.
they raise money, kids raise money at school kind of thing. And, I feel being a Delco guy, now with the store, there's another one that's, I think they've done it in the past, and I'm not quite sure. John, maybe you can help me out with PJ Doolin's does one with a wiffle ball tournament.
Yeah.
It's in conjunction with another foundation, but also with the Darren Dalton Foundation, and Ruben Amaro and Mickey Morandini are there for that one. They've been there for the past couple of years. Hedgerow do I have that right or wrong? That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's another foundation. It's a dual thing, but PJ over there at Doolin's does a great job in his community down there in Ridley. So kudos to them. Good luck to them. Raise some money. Anytime you can raise money for Dutch's foundation. Brett also told me that the surgeon, who is also on the board of the Darren Dalton Foundation, will be in to pick up the jersey. So,
interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, I think
with the guys that were there that had the relationship with us as well, I think that may have helped, get the foundation.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
There as well.
Yeah, we were able to partner this whole thing together.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we would have had, Dan Baker there. We would have had Ben Davis there. A couple of more, pieces to the Philly family. But, the Phillies got rained out the day before. They had a doubleheader. So, but we got Dan Baker and Richard Allen Jr. coming June 4th. So
yes.
We'll have some fun with that. And it'll be, another awesome show for what will that be? Show number 353.
353.
See what we did there?
You see what you did there.
See what we did. So anyway, it was great. And again, I can't thank everybody enough who came out, supported, donated, bought raffle tickets, some great raffle prizes. I see John's got one of them on display there at the store. That's the last one, by the way. There's no more of that one. Yeah. So that is it. So we'll do something special. Dutch was always one of my cool guys that we always leaned on, and he always came out to the store. So just an absolute good guy. So anyway, while we're talking Phillies, why not let's talk about the hottest team in baseball. Anthony told us to be patient.
Best team in the National League.
Told us to be patient.
Lauren's getting no credit for it.
Yeah, I'm getting no credit for yelling at the two of you.
Yelling.
Yelling.
You merely were just telling us to calm down.
Speaking in a higher volume.
Is that why you were sweating sitting on the chair?
Yeah, it must have been, because I just got done talking to you two. Oh, poor Jim Wright taking a shot at the Pirates being the hottest team in baseball.
That's not needed, Jim. Come on.
They did win today.
I heard. That's great.
They played this afternoon. I got an update.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
They only played a team with 4 players, too.
Oh, that's not bad.
Tony.
Did Skeens pitch again?
No,
this weekend I think he pitched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He pitched Sunday, so yeah.
Yeah.
Or in my house, he's Skeets. is in my that's what his name is in my house. It drives me crazy. But anyway,
yeah, but they're playing well. You know, they're taking care of business.
That was a great game Sunday. Speaking of Pirates Phillies.
Oh yeah.
Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Great.
That was an awesome game.
Hell of a game.
1-0.
You don't like pitcher duels?
You liked all that run support, huh?
I don't like pitcher's duels when you give up 3 hits and your team loses. That's pretty horrible.
And he pitched a complete game too.
Yeah.
Did he?
Well, I mean, because they lost. I mean, it was 8 innings, you know. But yeah,
that's usually how it goes. He pitches, entire game. He loses 2-1 or 1-0. That that's happens every time. So, no, it was good. It was just frustrating, but I'm used to it.
All right, that's it on our Pirates talk for tonight.
But yeah, I mean, the Phillies are doing what they're supposed to do. Which is good to see. They're taking care of the lesser teams, the under 500 teams, and doing what they're supposed to. And the good thing is, for the next month, they only play one team, 3 games over with the winning record. So hopefully we can.
So you're assuming that the Braves won't have a winning record?
Well, that right today is that is. I mean, the Braves are 500 or 1 game under me.
I'm just throwing that out there.
But it is what it is. It was interesting to see that
you got some very creative, tough divisions in baseball. I mean, look at that West over there with with the Dodgers, the Giants, Arizona.
Yeah,
I mean, San
Padres.
Diego.
Yep.
I mean, there's some good baseball teams out there.
Oh yeah. No, it's definitely a tight race all the way around, and you just gotta take care of business when you can, and take care of the lesser teams, and then play a little bit better. They're a little under 500 against the teams over 500, but hey, you start playing a little bit better there, and you're good to go.
They're getting very good pitching, Joe Stinger. Very good pitching. Anthony, I don't know if you have had a minute to look at the new addition to the AA Reading Fighting Phils. What's his name? Jake Beer?
That name sounds familiar. He
hit the winning home run on Sunday.
Is that his first name, Jake?
I don't
Beer
know.
Is his last name.
Jake,
Sure.
Beer.
He played
for the Pirates. I'm going with this for a number of reasons. He had a cup of coffee with the Pirates.
Oh, I don't remember him there. I know he played for the Diamondbacks, maybe? I think
he was drafted by the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, he was. Yep. He's. I didn't speak to him, but I saw his interview after the game because he was the player of the game at our Sunday game, and he said, he's played in a lot of places, and he said the Reading environment he really enjoyed more so than any other place, which I thought was nice because he's played in some big stadiums.
Yep. Yeah, he said, the Phillies signed him like 2 weeks ago. He was playing independent ball in Texas somewhere, and the Phillies assigned him to AA. So I don't know if they didn't have a spot for him in AAA or what the agenda there is.
Well, the problem that you guys are going to have in AAA is, if he's not like a highly touted prospect, that's pretty full at AAA. Other than you got Buddy Kennedy and some of the couple older guys, but other than that, there's really not any room to play. They're pretty stacked. So those guys better either they're going to have to either move some of them or something because there's nowhere to go.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, it was interesting. It was a good interview. And yeah, he hit it wasn't a walk-off home run. It was before the 9th inning, but he gave AA Fightins were losing that whole game because I was there, and they had a comeback. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. I think that's the first series that I don't know if it's overall, but that's definitely the first series we won at home. I don't know if it's overall. We've been struggling, so it was nice to do that.
You got a lot of young players there. There's a lot of
Seth Beer.
Seth. I was close. Jake, Jack, Seth. Yeah. They're all brothers.
Yeah.
Seth.
He was a former number 1 first round pick, wasn't he? I believe.
I don't know, but that name sounds so familiar. Would he have been in spring training at all?
Not with the
Yeah, because
Phillies.
with Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why that name sounds so familiar to me.
Yeah, but anyway, it was fun. He's a veteran. I think he's 28.
Yeah, he was a first-round pick, 28th overall in 2018.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't really get much of a shot because he played for the Diamondbacks for 2 years in the major leagues, and other than that, he's been in the minors, so he hasn't had a ton
Yeah,
of.
I think the COVID thing kind of messed him up a little bit too.
Right, COVID, and then
But he's only 28 years old, so if he could, hit in Reading, and then he might have a chance somewhere. So.
Yeah.
Reading's
Reading's
taking a chance on a guy.
a lot nicer than independent ball, that's for sure.
Yeah, it said independent ball, and he played. Where else did it just say? So he played independent for the Long Island Ducks, which are like the best of the independent teams, but still, yeah.
While you have his page there, was he also a switch hitter? Because we were trying to figure that out. I know he's a lefty.
Let's see.
I don't know if he switch hits or not.
It said bats lefts.
Okay,
Left.
Yeah, bat left throws right. So I don't know if he's a switch hitter though, but
No, I would say switch hitter. It would.
no, I don't see that right here. But
I thought that's what we were trying to figure that out because again he's another left-handed batter. That's the only problem. We need a nice right-handed bat like him to play on.
Yeah, I mean he was when he was
shot.
drafted, he played that those for a little bit, and he was in Reno, the Pirates. He got a bunch of chances here, but not significant amount of time to look at them. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Phillies are going for another win tonight. So who's pitching tonight? Taijuan Walker, right?
Walker's pitching tonight. Yep.
So hopefully the good pitching continues, and they had 17 hits last night.
2 nights in a row.
The bats are warming up, so we're going to stay calm. We're going to calm it down. Calm it down. So we don't want to get hollered at anymore.
That's right.
Were you staying calm when Alvarado got the suspension?
I woke up to that Sunday morning? Is that what that? Yeah. Is that when that was? Sunday morning? I woke up to that and I just shook my head because, you know what? You may find this crazy, but I am. You know what really pissed me off? The fact that he brought that young kid in, and walked him around, the major league ballpark and showed him all of this and that, and did the presentation, knowing damn right well, that the PEDs were going to come get him. Because that Major League Baseball had already, put the paperwork in process to suspend him.
Right.
And it was just a matter of time. And that's the first thing I thought of was this young kid. Like, how are these parents or grandparents going to explain this about, the guy that he,
right.
Had just become a fan of. And I'm like, man.
He was not the first person I thought of when I heard the news at first. The first thing that honestly popped into my mind was, do we know that he knew what he was taking? Because you hear that a lot. You hear a lot of, I didn't know that wasn't allowed. I didn't know what it was. Somebody told me it was something else. And I feel like with Hispanic players in particular, sometimes they run into those things. I didn't know what it was that I was taking. So that was the first thing, was like, did he know? And hasn't something come out that it was some type of weight loss drug?
Yeah, it was like Ozempic or something like that.
Yeah, so in his mind, he was...
Yeah, in his mind, I think he's thinking, I'm going to shed a few pounds because he is a bigger guy. And I had no idea that it was a performance-enhancing drug. I'm not making it an excuse for him, trust me. But what I'm saying is I don't know that he was rightfully injecting himself with a steroid thinking, I know what I'm doing and I'm going to do my damnedest to get away with it.
If it's Ozempic, it's not a performance enhancing drug. It's a weight loss drug, which
Right.
is common for anyone to take. I'm not saying he's right, but if that's what he took, there are thousands, if not millions of people taking that drug without a proper prescription or using it off.
Yeah, but is it Major League Baseball approved?
It must not be.
I didn't know. It's approved. If you get it approved, if he went to the doctor and said, I need to lose weight, he would be able to take it. Only reason he got dinged is if this is the case is because he didn't get it. If you went to go take Ozempic, you could take it all day. No one's going to stop you if you buy it. If he takes it, you're supposed to have a prescription, but no one cares if you have a prescription.
Right.
He needs a prescription so he doesn't get in trouble.
Right.
He didn't. If that's what he took, there's nothing wrong with taking that, but he should have went to the doctor first, or someone should have wrote him a prescription. I think at the end of the day, it's not a big deal because if that's what he says he took, I'm sure he'll appeal it, and if that's the case, it should be brought lesser. But I also question that is that what it is, because it seems pretty harsh of a penalty at first to give to him. If you're saying 80 games and the playoffs, it seems like you wouldn't do that if it was an accident for Ozempic. You would think it'd be something else. I haven't been paying closely enough attention to it since that day, so I don't know if anything else came out since. But if it's just because it's a weight loss drug, if I was him, I would bless you. I would appeal that and get that way less, because that's silly.
Well, I think that's just the rules for baseball for the playoff, the playoff part of it as well, because Jurickson Profar from the Braves had the same situation happen to start the season, and he's not eligible for the playoffs as well, even though he can come back in 80 games.
Right.
Yeah, but that's the thing where it's let's pretend that's the drug. It can't be just black and white like that. If that's the drug, that is not steroids. That is not a cream. That is a weight loss drug that millions of people take. Right. Yes, you should have got a prescription, but that shouldn't be an automatic playoff cancellation. That shouldn't be 80 games. That should be like 10 games, slap on the wrist. Please don't do it again, dummy. Because that's something everyone in the country is taking right now.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, but like people say, the players have got to know what they're taking. And plus he could easily. I feel more upset at the Phillies organization not watching over him, because they should know what he's taking. Because they wanted him to lose weight. So like if he's like, okay, well, I'm taking this, or she should have, he himself should have also reached out to say, hey, Phillies, I'm taking this, and they could figure it out, easily, in case there is a misinterpretation. So it's tough for that, and but yeah, I don't know what else is in the Ozempic or whatever, if that was actually what he did take to, it may not be a complete straight steroid, but maybe there is some kind of steroids of some sort in there. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how it works, and I'm certainly not condoning any of it. I'm merely just saying, we don't exactly know what happened, and that is the first thing I thought. Was so many times you hear from these guys who get caught with this stuff is I didn't know what I was taking. I didn't know that it wasn't allowed. And
those other times usually sounds like BS. That's what you say because you don't know what to do. In this case, if it is actually that weight loss drug, then it's stupid on someone's part, either the Phillies for not doing anything or him for not saying it, because it's not an issue if you just go get a prescription.
Yeah, it was kind of like Carlos Ruiz with the Adderall, back in the day.
It's pretty much the same thing as that, yeah.
If he would have gotten a prescription, he would have been okay, but it was, he didn't get this prescription at the time.
But like you said, then I saw later on in the day on Facebook that kid, and I had forgotten about him. I'm going to be honest. I forgot that whole situation happened. And I thought, damn, how do you now explain to that kid that this player that you really liked and you just got to meet not too long ago isn't going to be at the game, isn't going to be on your TV. You're not going to see him. And now you have to have a very serious conversation with, that boy has some type of autism. So now you have to explain it to him in a way where he's really going to understand that, what he did wasn't right, but that doesn't necessarily make him a bad person. So there's a lot to unpack there for him.
Yeah, true.
And this is the same player that on Mother's Day had, Happy Mother's Day, love you, Mom, written on his hat.
Yeah. I mean, he's been through a lot because his family had a hard time coming over here, from where Venezuela, I believe, is where he's from. And
that was just the beginning of the season.
Right.
That's why I'm going to have a really, really hard time believing that he took something knowing what he was doing was wrong.
Yeah, he said he was always self-conscious of his weight to begin with. He was overweight to begin with and stuff. So
he might have not even known it was illegal. I mean, I'm saying he had to know something, maybe know something, but a lot of people are just taking this willy-nilly and have no idea that you need a prescription for it.
Right.
Willy-nilly.
Yeah, and unfortunately, just being a professional player, he's got to.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it takes cases like this before people start to realize, hey, I got to ask. And it's not
right.
It's a shame.
That was the downside to Sunday morning, but the upside to Sunday afternoon was the performance by a
Mickey.
former Double-A R-Phil's pitcher, Mick Abel. Or Nick. So just the highs and lows of a Sunday in Philadelphia. We should be used to it. But the kid was just after the past couple of years, we didn't know. I mean, he wasn't going sideways. I mean, his career was heading down, down south, and we really didn't know if he'd ever make it, back.
Right.
And, apparently he got things worked out, and it was just so, I find it so cool when, the parents are there and all the friends and family are there. I think he had a group of like 50 some people.
I think that's what they said. There was about 50 that were there.
I just thought it was
his high school baseball coach was there.
Yeah. He flew in, didn't even tell him about it. I love those stories. It's just,
because there's a human element. You know what I mean? So many times we put these guys in a category of, superstar baseball players with no, human emotion or human attachment, and moments like that, much like with the NFL draft, it brings you back to that's someone's kid. That's somebody's, he's got parents that probably sacrificed so many Saturdays, so many weeknights, so much money to get him to where he's at. And then to see that happen, is just, it's so awesome for everybody involved.
Yeah. Good for the Phillies organization, good for Mick Abel and his family.
And then just like Philadelphia media loves to do, did you guys happen to catch the post-game interview when they're talking to him? Majority of the questions are how great it was, how you feeling after that. And I don't know, I haven't been able to identify the reporter just yet who asked it, but somebody says to him, well, they already told you that you're headed back to AAA. So after today, how does that make you feel?
Right.
Shut up. Like, just let the kid live in that moment. Why do you have to mention that? I mean, he handled it with grace and was as humble as you could have hoped for. But I'm just like, dude, shut the hell up and leave the goddamn kid alone. Just
let him enjoy it.
Right. No, they can't do that because all they want is a sound bite for their Instagram post, for their story, for their headline, for whatever. And they can't just let good news be good news. They have to say something like that. And, luckily he didn't fall into any dumb traps, but just that type of stuff just really pisses me off.
Yeah. And you being in the journalism world as well.
There are so many good questions that you could have asked. What was your favorite moment from today? What do you remember about walking out to the mount? I mean, a million things you could have asked, but instead you decide to look at the negative, which isn't even really a negative. Yes, he's going to go back to AAA, and of course he prefers to be on the professional team. We get that. But you obviously know you went out there and you proved yourself. So the next time the Phillies have an opening, you're going to be the first guy they call.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good point.
No, exactly.
Point. Good point.
So instead of asking that question, instead of saying, hey, so yeah, you might be headed back to AAA, but you went out there and proved yourself today. How does that make you feel? It's all about the way they phrase it. But, man, they know that bad news sells.
Yeah.
All right. Calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down. Calm down.
Got to be patient.
You'll get your shot at a layup. Just relax.
I don't have a calming down layup. I have a normal layup.
But yeah, I mean, he pitched great. He set the franchise record for 9 strikeouts, no walks. For a kid that like you said, through the minor leagues, they just said, hey, if he could ever find the strike zone, because he walked a lot of people in the minor leagues, and for him to come out in the major leagues and strike out 9 guys without walking any, tied Kurt Simmons' record from
how about that? Going back to the 40s, right?
47, yeah.
Wow.
With 9 strikeouts, and went toe to toe with Paul Skeens on top of it. You knew he was coming into a tough situation. Knowing he wasn't going to give up. He couldn't give up a lot of runs because Paul Skeens wasn't going to do that, and he goes out there and keeps the team in it. Pitched great, and I mean it was nice to see.
On top of that, thinking probably too much into the game. The Phillies letting Marchand catch him on Sunday rather than JT. Because Marchand has worked with him over the years. In the minors. Most recently in AAA and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Pretty cool. They interviewed Stubbs up at AAA about him, and that was some good sound bites there from Stubbs on him, and worked out really well. So hopefully in the near distant future we see him back on the big club. But the Phillies got a problem, and this is a great problem to have. They got too many pitchers. Too many pitchers. What are you going to do with all these pitchers, John?
I got the simple solution.
Uh-oh. I knew you would.
I know I'm not the smartest bulb in the shed but
the box?
What's that?
In the box?
Yeah, that's why I said I'm not the smartest bulb in the box. There you go.
He doesn't know the phrase. He's definitely not the smartest bulb.
Exactly. But it just the you set the situation up. You lost Luzardo, so you've only been really abusing four of our closers, your relief guys. So your Wheeler start.
Alvarado.
Well, with Alvarado being out, he was one of the 4 guys that we leaned on a lot.
Okay.
Coming out of the bullpen. So those guys were getting burned out, and now
can you see the excitement?
Okay, you said Luzardo, and I just wasn't following. I'm sorry.
Oh, did I say Luzardo?
You did.
Oh. All right, I'm sorry.
All right. Take 2.
All right, so we're gonna go with Zach Wheeler in a game, and then you have your regular bullpen matchups that you would do. Game 2, you have Christopher Sanchez start, throw 5-6 innings, and then you have Andrew Painter come behind him and finish out the game. So you don't even use the bullpen at all. Then
can you write this down?
I think this is John's rant.
Oh, it's all right up in here. That's why it's all bad. But I am looking down at
We're on take 2.
Yeah, we're on take 2. Mm-hmm. Then you have Luzardo pitching game 3, and then you use your bullpen again, so that they have a day off, everybody's fresh, and you're good to go. Then once Aaron Nola's back, you do an Aaron Nola game, and then you can go with Mick Abel after him, or maybe Taijuan Walker, if you don't want to bring Abel up.
So so back up here, Willie. Back up here a minute.
Yep.
My bulbs just broke.
All right. I know it's my bulb.
You're gonna bring Painter up before Mick Abel now?
No, I said Mick Abel's there too.
No, you got Painter behind
Sanchez.
He's behind Sanchez, yes.
Okay, Sanchez. Painter is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You do the lefty righty. And then you go with Nola.
Let me see this piece of paper you got this written down on.
You said you didn't write it down.
Well, it was in my head, but I had to say, you never know. You get a little nervous.
I mean, I hear what you're
How
trying.
does it solve the pitching problem?
Because you keep all your starters. Because what's going to happen is if you're going to go out to go try to find a bullpen piece, what's going to happen? everybody's going to ask for, give me Mick Abel or give me Andrew Painter as a piece. Well, guess what? We need starting pitchers. We're one of the rare teams in baseball that actually has a surplus of starting pitcher. So why not use these guys and we need bullpen help. So use those as the bullpen.
It doesn't always, hopefully, I mean that.
And you save the innings for like Andrew Painter. You can't pitch him in a lot of innings. So if he goes 3 innings on a night, he's getting professional experience and he's building up his arm for next year.
It all works in theory. The problem is, and it could work. The problem is that not every guy can do that. You know what I mean? Like Andrew Painter might be used to a certain routine from start. I don't know. Not that you can't adjust to it, but it might be at first there might be some hiccups because they're not used to doing it unless you start getting them ready, like, now to do that.
Well, but if you're doing 5 innings of Christopher Sanchez, he gets set up and pitch like he's a normal day.
I mean, I know what John's trying to say. You know what I mean? And it all sounds good.
Thanks, Lauren.
And truly, it does sound good. But, they're called starting pitchers for a reason.
Oh, I understand.
And, you've got these guys to the point where they're now – like Painter's pitching tonight, right?
Right.
And they got him going 5 innings again for the second time.
Yeah.
And like Anthony said, they've got a routine, just like we have a routine. May not sound like we have a routine, but we do. You know what I mean? And when you get sidetracked or pushed away from that, I think it makes matters worse than what they really are.
Well, no, I understand, but I'm just trying to this is a perfect
right,
marathon.
Hold on a sec there, Willie.
Right.
Because through all of this, we just listened to a whole lot of names. I didn't hear Ranger Suarez's name in that conversation.
Because Ranger Suarez is the 5th starter. I only got the 4 and you guys cut me off.
Oh.
And I don't want to hear it from the start, so let's just pretend.
Yeah, what's 5? Well, actually, can I get 4 and then 5?
Well, yeah, well,
I want you to start over because I want to hear you repeat it and don't make any screw ups.
All right.
Oh boy, is this
take 3? So you got Zach Wheeler with the bullpen. Then you go Christopher Sanchez because he's a lefty, and then you bring Andrew Painter behind him.
It's 2.
Then you go Luzardo with the bullpen. So they have a day off, and everybody's ready to go. When Nola's back, you got Nola and Mick Abel that can finish behind them.
It's 4.
And or if you're not bringing Abel up, you got Walker. Christopher
that's 4
Rangers,
and a half.
4 and then Ranger Suarez goes game 5, and then you do behind him either Walker if you do with Abel, or you do Ross and Banks, and all the guys are working.
So that's the bullpen behind Ranger, basically.
Yeah. So you have
it's pretty much you're asking for Painter and Abel to go not on days where it's not bullpen. That's pretty much what it is.
Right.
Well, right, but they're going to pitch because they're going to be on limited innings that they're going to be able to pitch. So they can come up and get major league time, get 3-4 innings in.
Well, I don't know that that's the case with Mick Abel. I honestly don't. After Sunday's performance, I don't know that they're going to be watching innings on him. He's not the one with Tommy John surgery.
Well, no, but they're gonna watch it over the season though. They may let him go 6-7, but I don't think they're going to let him.
They had literally written this guy off, John.
Well,
you know what I mean?
No, I understand, and but that's what I'm saying. You may or may not. You have options though. But
no, I hear you.
This way you're keeping everybody fresh, and they're only pitching there 1 day a week. So in case, because what happens? You trade one of these guys, somebody's going to get hurt in the starting rotation, and you're going to be like, damn. I just traded for a bullpen, so now I got extra bullpen pieces, and I need a starter. So this is the best of both worlds, and it's unconventional. I get it because not many teams have this many starting pitchers to be able to do this. So, it's just a thought.
All right. Well, we got it. We got it all. We got all 5 days figured out now.
Exactly. So. And this is for the regular season, and it doesn't mean that you have to do this in the playoffs because things change once you get to the playoffs.
Very unconventional. Very, very. I don't think the baseball gods are gonna fall for this.
But this keeps the bullpen fresh and ready to go.
I hear you. Did you run it through the analytic department?
Well, this is this. I mean, not that I'm an analytic person, but this is perfect for the analytic world.
There you go.
You're limiting Painter's innings and Abel's innings, and you're ready to go, and you get everybody pitching, and then that way you don't have to worry about Strom and Romano or Kirkland being unavailable on a day because you don't need them that day.
Speaking of Matt Strom, I liked his quote about Alvarado. He goes, "I want to hear it right from the horse's mouth."
Right.
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I want to hear it right from the horse's mouth.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I know it's an out there theory, but it's something that could possibly work.
Well, the Phillies are on fire. They're hitting. They're getting good pitching. They're playing decent defense. They still got some cleaning up to do out there, but
oh yeah,
it's good to see some of these guys back playing ball. And I mean, what's your buddy doing over there at third base? So how about give him a shout out? You don't give him any shout outs, but
Alec Bohm.
What's he batting?
I think this past little bit of a month he's batting 300.
Yeah, closer to 360, I believe.
I think it was 325.
Okay, so you've been watching him.
Yeah. No, he's been doing well.
All right.
Like I said, I mean, he came up with the big home run the other day. To start the rally in Colorado. Like I said, I mean, I like what I'm seeing from a lot of the guys. Like I said, those guys that are on the edges, I need to see them do it against the more competitive teams. That's all.
Okay. All right.
You see them then, and then it's a different story. I mean, it's the same thing with Bryce Harper, right? I mean, he's doing things now, and he's just not hitting for home runs right now. But his batting average is crazy right now, for the past 15 games or whatever. So,
all right.
It's.
Understand.
All right, we got to save your voice because we got your rant coming up, and we got a couple other things to talk about. So we got to keep this show moving. So
we got 7 minutes to 7:30.
When does 7:30 ever stop us before?
You're telling me.
All right. So big things in the NFL today. They finally got the vote on the tush push, and we're all good. Yes. We're all good. The tush push stays in Philly and lives on. They're already making the statue for outside the link with with all the guys pushing Hurts over the pile. So
yeah.
Thoughts on that? Anybody? Do we care? Do we conversation? What are we thinking?
I'm surprised. I thought that they would use some reasoning about brain injuries and something like that, but
it's apparently been proven that it doesn't cause injury.
I just feel like they were going to use that to get away with it, but that's nice that they didn't.
Well, it's funny that they sent Mr. Jason Kelsey out there,
secret weapon,
to convince everyone that I didn't retire because of head injuries or anything, and I was part of that for quite a while. So, in a convincing Jason-like fashion, he won over the NFL owners. So,
yeah. I mean, I kind of think it's kind of like AJ Brown said. He wasn't too worried about it because it's a 1 yard play.
Yeah, it's one play.
Well, yeah. I mean, and it's one of those things too. It's you're going to set a precedence if you're trying to stop a team who does a certain thing right or well. It's like, and then you're going to say, oh, well, you can't do that. Well, that's not competitive sports.
All right. Well, hopefully we heard the last of it.
Right.
I would certainly hope so, but who knows? It's the NFL. It's the no fun league.
Oh, well, it sounds like it's going to be. Yeah, it sounds like they're going to vote on it every year.
Yeah. because Roger Goodell already said he's going to look into more, research about it this, throughout this year and how they're doing it and seeing how it's, being used and that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's going to keep going.
Used. Well, there's only one team that's effectively been able to run the play. So,
Right.
I mean, how much footage does he have to look at?
Oh, I mean,
they're going to probably look at more research into if that long term is a brain injuries and I mean that's what they're going to look at.
All right. Enough on the tush push. We're gonna send this one over to our NBA correspondent. Big into basketball. Big into the Sixers. How do you like the way we got control of the number 3 pick there, GM?
I like it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have any thoughts on it, to be honest. I mean,
Not yet. You're not ready to let out anything out of the bag. No, nothing.
I don't really have anything to let out of the bag because I don't know enough about the draft to even guess who they're going to take. But the Sixers don't really have a great track record in drafting a good first-round guy. So I don't have great confidence in them making the right choice. And they've really done nothing in the offseason to prove to me that they're going to turn anything around. And so to assume that this pick is somehow going to come in and make us a better team, A, that's not going to happen. And B, that's a lot of pressure on that kid. So do a few more things in the offseason and not run the same exact thing out there, except now we have this new shiny toy that we got for the 3rd pick. And then I'd be a little more excited, but they've literally done nothing.
Yeah.
Still have the same 2 guys in charge. I've been talking about that forever. Why is baseball and this and that, those guys are always on the hook? These guys feel like they've been running the team forever and they're horrendous. I mean, why do they get off the hook?
So
Yeah, there's a lot of questions there still. I guess we got to wait for the NBA season to be officially over.
right.
And then you have the draft and, you have free agency and you go through all that pomps and circumstances. So we'll see. I just find it very creative that they were sitting at 6. They could have lost the pick completely. And then the night, I don't know if you guys watched it, the night of the draft, whoever was making the announcement screwed up what he was supposed to say. And he had the Sixers losing the pick and then winning the 3rd pick. So the lottery balls were bouncing all over the floor. So,
well, he kind of had it right because the two teams jumped ahead of the Sixers. So in theory, you would have thought that they would have gotten kicked out. But then, once it got to the 7th pick, and he should have known at that point that the Sixers were at least keeping their pick. And then the Sixers actually jumped up, like you said, 3 spots as well. So 3 teams ended up jumping up and.
Crazy.
It was a crazy week. And I mean, it's, again, typical, Sixers, it's like they say everybody's there's a 2 draft class right at the moment and everybody else is questionable after that. So that
we'll see.
The Ace Bailey, from Rutgers, is the third guy out there and everybody's saying he's a project and,
We'll take him. Don't worry.
No, they're going to end up trading them. That 3rd pick's going to be traded.
You think?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Well, because that way they can get rid of Paul George.
Oh, you're thinking they're gonna package Paul George?
They got to package him up.
So you're really taking a setback if you do that.
Well, because again, you're trying to build around Embiid again. So yes, it's not a good move, and they're going to try to do that.
So and then who are you gonna chase after Paul George?
Well, the talks is that they're trading up to get the 3 pick and Paul George to get Kevin Durant.
Wow,
he's about 108 too.
I think Shaq.
Exactly, because they want to give Embiid another shot to win, and so again, all you're doing is switching out Paul George for Kevin Durant and giving up the 3rd pick instead of trying to get younger
I might get rid of Joel.
I like
Joel
Kevin
Embiid.
Durant. I like him a lot because his cards are more valuable than Paul George's.
Yeah, but not once he puts on a Sixers uniform because
Yeah, well, that doesn't affect his rookie card. All right, let's move on because we got one last and final thing to talk about, and that's Flyers hockey.
Yes.
We got a new coach. But more importantly, I've got somewhat of a rant unannounced because I just read this prior to the show going live that Ian LePerrier is done in the Flyers organization.
I saw something pop up about him.
He is no longer the Phantoms coach, and he will not be joining Rick Tockett's staff. So kind of ticked off about that because I was a big Lappy fan, still am. Just my 2 cents, which mean absolutely nothing. But he put in, I think, 5 years, with the Phantoms, and I thought he did a really good job. I really did in working with these kids that came up, whether it was for a short time or a long time. And for him to walk away on his own, this was his doings. So I guess he was a little salty about maybe not even getting a job interview for the big club. So kudos to him. I hope he lands on his feet somewhere and just didn't sit well with me. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, that's definitely a shot to the gut,
Yeah, I just, I understand, organizations and, the things, the powers to be and whatnot, but, he was one of the guys, he was one of the guys, one of the players that, played his ass off and coached the same way. And I just think, he deserved a shot. So.
If not for the head coaching, like at least being on the coaching staff because he's been with these guys.
Right. Exactly.
There's 5 guys are still behind the bench. You could have him, helping out.
Yep.
So and like you said, he saw the writing on the wall. Unfortunately, that when he got passed over again, that Tockett's here for a few more years. So he's
well, he did. Yeah, it's a 5-year deal. You know what I mean? So, all right. So who's going first? Lauren's layup or John's rant? I feel like John's been on a rant all night.
Yeah, was your pitching thing your rant?
No, he was fixing the situation. What do you mean?
Oh, I thought that was part of the rant.
He was the brightest bulb in the box.
Yeah, exactly. Or the shed.
Or the shed.
Definitely the shed.
But it was.
Is it a wood shed?
That was one of them, but I do have another one because I have to plan 2 of them sometimes because just in case of.
Just in case Carl steals one or something.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's hear it.
All right, so I'll go with my rant then. So here we go. It's Paul George and the basketball. He came out the other day with the comment that it's too stressful and it's hard. It's hard to play an 82-game basketball season. So this is why the guys can't play all the time. And I got the violin music playing on in the background if you can't hear. But well, guess what, sir? You're getting paid over $1 million a game to be out there playing. Get your ass out on the court and play because I think playing making $1 million to play a game is a good enough reason to play. And that's part of the problem with the NBA because Embiid's just the same situation as well. He's just not stupid enough to come out and say it, to people. And it's and NBA's got to do something. They got to come up with something. If you play, you get paid. And this goes for a lot of sports too. Like if it's not going to work, of course, because of the union. But this will find a way to make guys more interested in playing the game. So there you go. How's that?
Okay.
Paul George is your rant.
Yeah, because I mean, come on, dude. You sucked all year long. You played like 12 games, and you collected a full salary of money, and you're complaining that it's stressful to play a football basketball season. with the broken pinky. Come on,
Yeah.
grow
Try
up.
that.
Grow up.
All right,
I like it.
Lauren, are you ready?
Sure.
Are you ready? See, I like the other picture better than this.
No.
One. I like the other picture better. It's funner.
Butter.
All right. When you travel places, go somewhere for the weekend, go somewhere for the day, what item do you always have to collect when you go to a new place? Like what item, like a souvenir? Do you have a specific item that you always like to get when you go to a new place? Do you do you get a pin? Do you get a pen? Do you get a hat, t-shirt? What's your thing that you like
Postcard.
to take when you go somewhere?
Man, you're old. Postcards are so old.
So
yeah, but see, but I don't just get one because they're great photos. Like you got to get the ones that don't have like all the things, and they become photos for you, like for great shots. I mean, Jen hates it because I get like 50 of them.
50 postcards.
Oh yeah, well I mean not when you go to like if you go to the boardwalk or something, but I mean it's just no. But like if
I'm not going to Johnson's Popcorn. I got to go look for postcards.
I mean if you go to Hawaii or when we went on our honeymoon to Hawaii, it was always getting stuff.
All right, I'm not going. I'm not going with the honeymoon thing. I'm not going.
Well,
saying,
the postcard thing is interesting because when I work in the store for the Fightins, I would say at least 2 times a night, people ask, "Do you have postcards?"
There you go.
No, sorry, we don't. We did. So we had them when I first started working in there. Then they went away. Then they came back, and now they're gone again.
You just forgot.
So
if this was the Family Feud, I'm the top winner right there. You're getting the number one.
I don't know because you already got 2 answers on the board with Christmas tree ornament, which I like that.
Well, that's Jen's.
Yep. Stinger.
That's Jen. We always get a Christmas tree.
Gigi's on the board with a Christmas tree ornament.
Yeah,
Gigi.
I like that.
Welcome, Gigi. Congrats.
Yeah.
Congrats.
John, do you send the postcards to anyone, or you just?
Oh no. We just keep them.
He takes them home and they pile dust.
Okay, so what? Then you get put into like a little photo thing, They look like photos. But that's Jen's thing though is the Christmas ornaments. That we've got Christmas ornaments from everywhere. So, yes.
Dad.
I don't. I'm all over the place. You know that. I am all over the place.
You are all over the place. You're a big t-shirt guy though.
Oh yeah. And you know what?
You can get them at the boardwalk.
I've come to
You can get them at the boardwalk.
But I don't like this shit up on the boardwalk. Mine there's got to be some support behind them. You know what I mean? Yeah, and like Sue said, my t-shirt's got to cost $40. So,
well, that's not your fault.
I need a 47 or I need something stylish and like they just went to Lauren and Anthony just went down to what was the name of the team in Hagerstown?
The Flying Boxcars.
The Flying Boxcars. I had to have that t-shirt. I mean had to. That's a cool name.
Yeah.
But I collect it all. Pins. My new thing is stickers for my computer, for the laptop. Hats. I don't even wear hats, but I got to buy them. Now I'm getting real finicky because the t-shirts, they get all out of shape and I don't like that, so.
What I need you to elaborate, all out of shape?
Yeah. You know how they get all funky looking, you know what I mean? They look like they're old, cause they're just not, they don't hold their shape,
okay. Got it.
But no, I'm all over the place. I collect.
You're supposed to hang them up and not throw them into a ball.
All right. Listen, Aunt Millie, shut up.
Who's Aunt Millie?
That's what he sounds like.
Aunt Millie.
Aunt Millie and her goddamn postcards.
Oh, Aunt Millie. I'd have to say mine is probably a pin. I would say a pin. I would also agree with the sticker, but I'm very particular about my stickers. I can't just be any willy-nilly sticker. It has to be
Proper sticker.
Yeah, it has to be proper. It has to be
I don't
what
know
we
that
went-
Brian Prop has stickers.
Well, it's what we went there for. So like we can't just I don't like generic, like Hagerstown, Maryland. I don't want that. I'd rather have like a flying boxcar sticker or like a few images in the sticker that kind of represent the place as a whole. So I can be a little fussy with my stickers. Sometimes we'll get a magnet, but that's only like the really good stuff. Like we have a Tropicana Field magnet. That's a good one. You know what I
Especially,
mean?
does it have a roof on it?
It does.
You see,
That's rare.
that's even more special.
Yeah.
That's a 101 right now.
And then I'll also dabble in the t-shirt world and the hat world, but only if I really,
They got to be proper
Yeah.
too.
if I really like.
I've been shopping with you. I see the way you hand pick things. Nah, I'll pass.
Yeah. It has to really speak to me, to be honest.
Mom said ice cream in a waffle cone is what she collects.
But
You can't get that everywhere.
how does a T-shirt speak to you?
Like I gotta like the design. I have to like the feel of it, the cut. I mean, so many things, John. You don't have daughters, so it's a whole thing.
No. I know. I'm trying to be funny because it doesn't talk to you.
Oh, John. But I would say pin number 1, sticker 1A.
Pin's good because it doesn't take up much room.
Yeah.
Use those postcards.
That's true.
Yeah, but where do you put them? Will you put them in a box and you got to like flip through them? You have a binder? I mean,
Yeah, Jen used to make a lot of photo albums
Okay.
for our trips.
What would you want
What?
from south of the border? Oh, I like this one. I have a sticker for sure on my Yeti cooler from south of the border.
The 10-cent bumper sticker.
Mm-hmm.
Taco.
You know what's funny?
Taco?
They advertise these restaurants. I don't know if we definitely haven't eaten in the restaurant. I don't know.
I've
if
never eaten at south of the border. You ate at south of the border, John?
Is it good?
Did you get food poisoning?
No, isn't that the place? Isn't that the place? The restaurant in the Chamonix Mall, south of the border.
Oh,
We
the boat just went out for the night.
gotta go.
we ate there after your dad's phone got stolen and then transported to Jersey.
Let's back up for a second here. That's on the border.
Oh, okay, it's on the border. You're right.
Ooh, I thought the restaurant, like food court, eat something on the border.
It had border
I
on
think
it.
they're
so-
out of business.
No, just the ones around here. I don't know about that one.
Oh, well, the on the border we had here is out of business. John, he's
Not
talking
ours.
about
Ours
in
is still-
between
ours
North
is
and
still
South
going good.
Carolina. The rest stop in between North and South Carolina. Have you ever driven through there?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you have to look it up on
You
your
have to
time.
experience it for yourself. Go on YouTube and type in south of the border. There's plenty of YouTube videos about it. It's a really fascinating place.
Is that the one I got to use the bathroom because they have the cleanest bathrooms in town?
Nope, that's Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's.
They might say they have the cleanest bathroom in town. They definitely don't, but
Joe Singer, the amount of times you've driven back and forth to Florida and you've never, from Florida to PA, you've never stopped at south of the border. I'm shocked.
Apparently
Is that
not.
South Carolina or North Carolina? Because we were
It's
down
right,
the Myrtle
it's
Beach.
border. It's right there.
South Carolina, right over the border.
Well, I mean, if you're
I-95.
going to Florida, it's technically in North Carolina right before you hit south, isn't it? No.
No, it's South Carolina on the edge.
Okay.
It's the first time in
Yeah,
South
after you
Carolina.
pass over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on I-95. Joe brings up a good point. So
Okay.
that's-
They got he brought it up because there's nothing but tchotchkes there. You can
Yes.
get any nonsense you want.
Shot
Postcards?
glasses, T-shirts.
Shot glasses were a big collectible item back in the day as well. Shot
Yeah.
glasses. Remember, everybody used to get a shot glass when it came back from vacation.
Oh yeah,
Do you know anybody who collected spoons
I do.
other than JD?
I think Nana may have collected just about everything as
Well,
well.
Anna collected anything you could collect. So,
Yeah.
yeah, if it was collectible, she had it.
Yep.
I
I think she brought back just about 100 different souvenirs from Hawaii when she went.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff out in Hawaii. Yeah.
Stamps are a big collectible item as well, but harder to get.
Yep.
More expensive
Yep.
too now.
You can see the big sombrero for miles. Yes, you
Yeah.
can. Yep. Definitely some
Oh.
postcards of
There
South
you go.
Florida. See, you got everybody. You got them all locked in.
There's
I know.
plenty of postcards of
The
South
show's gonna be an hour over, right? They're gonna be sitting there watching TV, and this is gonna keep going off in their head.
Because it's the number one thing on the Family Feud, the postcards. Nobody just wants to say it. That's all.
Tony, did you collect anything as a kid when you would go on trips before you met me?
Kid, before I met you. No,
Okay,
I don't like things.
there we go.
I'm very picky.
Very picky, very finicky.
I don't like nonsense.
Unless it pertains to the Pirates. So back up.
No, even if it pertains to the Pirates.
Very much so to the Pirates, even more so because I like them.
He doesn't like.
Nonsense.
Nope. Don't get him a generic Pirates T-shirt or a hat or a.
I'll say thank you, and then I'll give it as an auction item or a
Mhm.
raffle. I don't want it.
That's true. That's accurate.
Yeah.
Most of the giveaways,
You got some knockoff bobbleheads.
Yeah, but I want those.
he's very specific about the player. Also, it has to speak to him too.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking about players, you see Sid Bream is doing a autograph signing in Carlisle.
Yeah, he's always doing something.
We don't like him, right?
No, I don't mind him. He's a nice guy. I feel bad for him, but yeah.
He's
What
too slow.
happened to him? They booed him out of town, right?
No, they don't mind him. I mean, it's not his fault. They cut him, and he went to the Braves and did that. I mean, he lives out there. He's lived his whole life. That's where he's from. He never left.
Carlisle?
No, he's from like Western PA. I'm saying he still lives out there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought this was new news, but apparently not.
Nah, he's always doing something. But thanks.
All right.
Gene Lamont is coaching for the Pirates now.
Yeah, that's great. John would like that if there was like it's like
Dean
you know
Lamont. Isn't he like 99?
78 or
Pretty
something, 73. I forget.
Why is he back?
Because I don't
They
know if
asked
you're
him.
I don't know if you're aware, but they could use a little help.
From
Apparently, they asked Jim Leland to do it, and he said no. Call Gene.
There's not enough cigarettes for
Don Kelly, their new manager, said Jim said I'd rather not. And in Jim's defense, why would you want to come out of retirement for this?
So what does Gene Lamont have to offer to these
He's
young
lit.
kids?
He's 78 years old.
He's like their Charlie Manuel.
He's been with Don Kelly since he was playing in the Tigers organization.
Oh, okay.
years
I
ago.
didn't know the connection. All right.
And
No
he's like Charlie
disrespect.
Manuel. You got to have some.
But-
You got to have someone that's not analytics. You got to have someone that knows how to hit the
Yeah,
ball.
it's like it brings a touch of the old school baseball. But I will
Okay.
say he travels. He plans to go to every game, travel to every game, and he's great. He did an interview. They asked him, "Aren't you? Isn't it a lot on you? So older to be traveling?" And he goes, "A lot." He goes, "I get on a bus. They take me to the airport. I get on a plane. They take me to where I gotta go.
It's all first class.
My stuff is there, and I come here."
He goes, "What's so hard on?"
He goes, "What's so hard about it?" He goes, "My wife's happy to have me out of the house. My kids and grandkids think it's cool. So
And it's better than managing on the couch. So what the hell's the big deal?
yeah." He goes, "I manage at home on the couch. I might as well manage here."
All right. Well,
There you
It was
go.
a good
Okay.
interview. But yeah, he's every bit 78 years old. He
and
looks
his
like
name is
78.
Gene Lamont.
What?
What's his
Gene
name?
Lamont. Yeah, Gene Lamont.
Gene
He
Lamont.
was the
Gene Lamont.
manager right after Jim Leland left, and then he was Jim Leland's first or third base coach for 15 or 20 years, whatever.
Nice. All right.
Detroit.
All right.
Yeah.
Man, we somehow factor in an awful lot of Pirates talk anymore. All
Yeah.
right. I know that face.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Johnny, you all good? We square. We got postcards ordered. We got
Yep.
more light bulbs coming.
Yep. We're all good.
You're all good. You're off tomorrow. You're gonna relax and do nothing.
I don't know about that.
Mm-mm.
You still working on that gen list for like the last 40 years?
That list always keeps growing. But yeah,
All right.
there's some daddy duties to go around.
Daddy, that's right. The boys are home.
Yeah.
The boys are back.
Boys are back in town. That's
All
for sure.
right. All right. Thank you, everyone. Again, congrats to Ginny, Emily, Patrick, Henry.
There you go.
Kid Cole is making all the nurses happy in the hospital, and he'll be home soon. Congratulations to the family.
Yes.
Thanks to everybody for last week. We're still thanking everybody for all their contributions and support. What do we got? We got Memorial Day weekend coming up.
Yes.
Right? Nice long weekend. Everybody's off on Monday. Most everybody. Everybody but Anthony.
Anthony's off on Monday.
Andy's off on Mondays.
You're the hardest working man in America.
You said it.
That's accurate.
I did.
Here's
Yeah.
some breaking news for you guys. Oh, it's really hard to say.
Who was that?
The Colts owner
The Colts
passed away.
owner died.
No way.
Oh.
65
Jim-
years old.
Jim Irsay?
Yep.
Wow.
Breaking news.
Wow.
Hmm.
He had a little history with some illegal substances.
Yeah.
He looks a little rough. His photo
Yeah.
looks like he's
Yeah.
Dabbled in
He's had
Yeah, like
he's had a
some
little
tough
he's had a lot of bad things going on. But don't like to see anybody pass away. We lost Norm from Cheers.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on, who's not a Cheers fan?
Yeah.
Where everybody knows your name,
That's right.
right? We got to get that postcard. Get that one. Get doubles of that one, John.
There you go. I definitely will. Definitely will.
All right, Lauren's about done with tonight. She wants to go eat. I can tell.
And if Anthony whispers to me one more time that he's starving,
Oh, I'm sorry.
it's
Well,
okay. It's not your
look.
fault. He should eat beforehand.
feel free to take a night off. This nothing here is guaranteed. So
Aw. Nothing is guaranteed.
He doesn't know what
That's-
that's saying.
That's very philosophical of you.
well, I mean, you know,
It's true.
if the man has more important things to do than sit here and jibber jabber
I think-
with us.
I think he meant nothing is required.
Oh,
I think that's what he meant.
I see. Got it.
Guys, have a
Understand.
great rest of your night. I hope you're making something better than guacamole and chips or whatever. Give the man something good to eat.
Well, at least now I know I got to go to on the border instead of south of the border to get my tacos tonight. So I would have been going to the wrong
I
location.
wouldn't eat any tacos from south of the border.
The funniest part is that you said south of the border, they definitely have a taco restaurant. And you definitely get food poisoning there.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I definitely won't scratch that off my list.
One
then.
of my first live interviews came from the Pink Elephant at south of the border.
Wow.
Oh, really?
I'm
One of
going
my-
to need more information on that at a later date.
And I'm pissed off at Buc-ee's because they don't have grilled cheese anymore. So,
Damn Buc-ee's.
damn Buc-ee's.
Still pretty good.
Yeah, it is. All right, guys.
Well, what?
Have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk soon. Thanks,
Sounds good.
everybody.
See you later.